Alright, hey guys, today I'm doing a new tutorial and we're going to be working with ink splatters and also with different shapes and masks. And when we put them together, we're actually going to get this effect right here. So, as a quick example, it shows these ink splatters in the background, and when they come together, they actually create a heart. So that's a really cool effect, and that's what we're going to be trying to make today. Hopefully we can go through pretty quick and let's see what we come up with. So, in this new composition, we're going to start out by choosing our image. So you can actually do this with any shape, but the most important factor is it's transparent. And what that means is the background is cut out of the image. Today I'm going to use a heart, but you can use a star, you can use a circle. You could probably even use an anime character as long as the image is transparent. So I'll have this heart in the description just so it's easier for you to access. And yeah. I'm going to drag it into my composition, and we're going to use this super useful tool. So select your image, go into layer and find auto trace. I don't think I really changed anything in the auto trace options, so it should be okay if you just hit the OK button. And what this does is it creates a mask for us around our image. And it just makes it a lot easier. You don't have to mask for yourself if it's transparent. And we get a mask just like that. I'm actually going to shut off viewing the heart. And now just only looking at the mask. Let's play around with the size to get it the size that we want for this effect. Let's say... Alright, let's say I want the heart to be this size. Now that I have it like this, hit M on your keyboard. M for mask. And then go into your mask path. And we're just going to hit Control C to copy that. So we've copied our mask. Now we can actually just get rid of all of this. Just get rid of it. So the next thing we have to do is we have to look at the background of our clip. So in this effect, I'm actually going to use a black background. But in the case you're going to use, like, to do an example over here, I had this particle background, which is actually right here. So I had this clip in the background. Then just follow along with what I'm doing. I'm going to create a solid in a second. So whatever I do to the solid, you're just going to do the exact same thing, but you're going to do it with the clip. So create your solid. For the most part, it should be around the composition size, just so it's easier to work with, but it doesn't really matter. And in our solid, we're going to Control V to paste our heart. And now we have the heart, but because this composition is automatically black, it's kind of hard to work with. So I'm going to hit this button right here, Transparency Grid, and it's just going to change it. Instead of a black composition background, it's going to give us this checkered background. And what this lets us do is it just makes it easier for us to see what we're doing. So hit M for mask and change it to subtract. And what this does is it actually creates an outline for us, sort of like a cookie cutter. And it makes it super easy for us to put in our ink splatter effects. And just like a cookie cutter, we're going to have them fill up the heart with ink splatters instead of cookie dough, I guess. Alright, so anyway, I have the footage for an ink splatter in the composition. Yeah, right here. So I have this footage right here, and let me just pull it up. Basically, it shows, well, an ink splattering. This is a pretty cool footage, and you can do a lot with ink splatters, or ink blots. So I'll upload this in the description so you guys can use it too and follow along really easily. But as you can see, the clip is very, very long. And so when you play it, it's very slow as it progresses. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to speed it up. We're going to go to layer, time stretch. And let's say we want it around 15. It's going to cut it down just like that. And we have the ink splatter going a lot faster. It's more like boom, explosive. It's just like yeah. I'm gonna stop it around the 2-second mark. 'Cause that's how long I want the effect to go for. And then I'm just going to drag it underneath my solid, just so it fits in like that. And now we can see, well, it does cover a lot of space. So let's go around middle towards end to get a good view of how it will end up. And hit P for position and probably scale also. So Shift S opens both of them. And then we can play around with this. It's sort of like we're going to move it so it's taking up maybe the left side of the heart. And maybe we'll have another one on the right side, one at the top and one at the bottom. You're sort of just filling up the spaces. So this is pretty good right here. Let's duplicate it. It might be a little bit confusing when you're working with this, but just try to remember where the footage is and where the white spots are that you need to cover. So over here, let's move it over. I might need to open up, scale it up just a little bit. Okay, so that should cover the middle section of the heart, if I'm not correct. I'm going to duplicate it, open up position and scale. The bottom one doesn't have to be, okay, maybe like 75. That's pretty good. You might even want to open up rotation just so every single ink splatter doesn't look the same. If you have that problem, just rotate it a bit. It should get rid of that. Pull this to the bottom. You don't want to have too much of the ink splatters overlapping. And now we just have a little bit at the top to work with. So one last time, position and scale. Let's pull it up. So you might run into this problem where, oops, 1 second. Well, the ink splatter is covering a lot, but maybe there's like this little section here or it's not stretched enough. What we can do here is actually on the scale, unlink it, and then pull up this one. We can stretch it a little bit. We can play around with it a little bit. And we can get that whole top section covered. Which is pretty cool, pretty cool. Don't stretch it too much because then it looks a little bit, it'll look too different from the other ink splatters, but I think that's pretty good. Alright, so we have them all in position to cover up the full heart. Now we just need our clips. 1 second. So over here, I think I grabbed a couple. Where did my images go? Oh, here. Actually, I think we can organize by type. Oh, here we go. So these are all images. Here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 3 here that I can drag in, and the 4th one right here. Okay, so we have 4 of our images right now, and we're only going to work with 1 right now, so you can shut off all the other ones. Only grab the first one. Okay, place it under the ink blot that you want to use. And remember how this one is placed right at the top to cover this top section? we need to move this clip up so that it will also cover that top section. Oops. That should be good. If you don't see the option right now, hit toggle switches / modes at the bottom. And when you have track matte up, we can change this to Luma inverted matte. What this lets us do is right there at the top, we have our ink splatter, have our clip, or footage or whatever, and we can see it gets revealed at the top, just like that. So the only thing you want to do now is just some fine adjustments, maybe with position and scale, just to get, let's see, maybe we want to get some more characters into the image. Can drag it down a bit, maybe a little bit too much. Drag it over a bit. And you can also scale it down to get more characters in. We just don't want to have any white spaces, so make sure you don't make it too small. Okay, so I think we got most of the characters inside. We got the main character right there. I think that's the most important. Anyway, we're done one of them. Now turn on another one, another image. I'm going to pull this under the second one. So now we're going to work with this one. This one is the bottom clip. So we may need to position this image down. Alright. We're going to change it to Luma inverted matte on the image. This will let our clip appear, and then we can play around with our position, our scale, and our, I don't think we need rotation. But now we can scale around with it. See if we can get Meliodas in there. There we go. So we got 2 of them down, 2 more to go. Working with the next one, let's turn it on, pull it down, change it to Luma inverted matte. Oh, that one actually worked pretty well. We got some new characters in this one. Open up position and scale. Let's see who we have here. We got all the characters. And the final one we have right here in this section, just our last but not least. Drag our last image down there. Oops. Turn it on. Change it to Luma inverted matte. And then position and scale it. What is this image about? Oh, we got so many people in here. There we go. So now when I look at it, it's time for the final touches. I can see there's a little bit of white space here that I might want to cover, and maybe a little bit here. So I think I can do that both with the top ink blot. Let's see what we can do. Position it over. Pull up the scale. Maybe down a bit more. I don't know how much I want to pull it over. Maybe I'll just change this one. Yeah, I'll change this one. Time for our final touches. We're gonna just maybe scale this up a bit just to cover that final spot. And there we go. We have the ink splatter effect. If you go through, we see, oops. starts with nothing, and then all of our ink blot things come to fill it up, just like that. You might not want to have this big gaping heart at the beginning, so you can always create a solid. Want it to be black, and pull this right to the bottom. And what this lets us do is they appear from nowhere on like that. And let me clean this up actually. Let me go right to the back. 1 second. Right here, I'm going to select all of the clips that we have. Alt with the square bracket, the right square bracket. I'm going to close it. Cut everything off right there. And I think as the final step, it's just staggering the clips. So let me close this all down. So each one is grouped together. This ink blot controls this image. This ink blot controls this image. So move them in pairs of 2, and then just stagger them out. Maybe I'll pull this one like this much. Pull this one like this much. And maybe this last one just like a little bit delayed at the beginning. And when you preview through, you see that they come up at different times, and that's also a pretty cool effect. Still, they will all fill up, creating our heart, which is pretty cool. If you want to pre-compose all of this, you can always pre-compose it. And then I think just adding maybe drop shadow, or something like, oops, wrong one. S drop shadow. We need drop shadow with no spaces. Maybe add something like this just to give some depth to it. You know, right now it's up to you. You can always like play around with if you want it like 1 second. 3D, and then if you wanna, I don't know, like rotate it somehow. Like, whoosh, look at this. But you know, I'll leave that up to you. This is how you do the effect. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you learned something new. Uh, yeah, I'll be posting some more tutorials and hopefully some cool AMVs and stuff like that. So be prepared. And have a great day. Thanks for watching, guys.